You're listening to the Purdy Girl Podcast. I'm your host, Ashley Kelly Purdy. My mission is to connect military spouses, fiancés, girlfriends, and booty calls worldwide. So let's do this. Hello, welcome. Happy Monday, new week. We have a new book for book club. Don't know if you've heard. I did post about it in the Facebook group, but it is Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng. And I do not know if I'm saying her last name right, but we're just going to go with it. That is our October book club book. And yeah, I'm excited about it. It's a novel. Y'all know I love a good self-development book. So this is outside of my comfort zone a little bit. I don't know why, but I have decided something. I love a self-development book in the morning and reading a novel at night. That really works for me because in the morning I'm like, yeah, we're going to do all the things. And I need to have a book that hypes me up. If I read a novel in the morning, that just isn't the case. So that is one of the things that I'm trying to work on as far as goal setting goes, is a nighttime routine where I'm not watching so much Parks and Rec at night. Yes, that is still happening, but I do feel like I'll just have this novel, by my bedside, and I'm going to be a real adult and fall asleep to a book. That's the new plan. So yeah, if you're not a part of the Facebook group, hit me up through Instagram or Facebook. I'm Ashley Kelly Purdy. We'll get you in there. But yeah, we just talk about the book and possible meetups. So I would love to do a meetup for this book club in Destin, Florida. If you're close, if you're in the area, I think it would be really fun. Even if I know a lot of people from even Fort Rucker will drive down to Destin for the weekend. Come on down. How fun. October 27th at 2 p.m. Location to be determined. I kind of want to host. We're in an apartment building, but we have a really nice little clubhouse. So I want to do, appetizers and cocktails and non-alcoholic beverages and all the things. I just love doing stuff like that. So I think that would be kind of fun and something new to do that has nothing to do with the military. Am I right? Am I the only one that feels like that? I don't know. I need to be careful with what I say. I just need to have my own thing that has nothing to do with my husband's job. Okay, so today I want to talk about something a little more focused to military life, speaking of which. But honestly, I feel like it's applicable to any lifestyle. Also, do you say applicable or do you say applicable? I keep hearing it both ways, and I'm just trying to decide which one I like, applicable or applicable. What do you say? Because you say apply, applicable, I don't know. Anyway, I received this book not that long ago from another military spouse, and I've been skimming through it here and there. And I think she's so sweet. She actually gave it to me. She's like, I, got this book when I first moved here, and I think it would be, some good material in there for your podcast. I'm like, oh, okay, you're the sweetest, cutie. So there are some good nuggets in this book. There are some annoying parts. I am not a fan when I'm reading a book or even listening to a podcast and it's this maybe a woman that is like, we feel like we have to do it all the time, or we feel like we have to be perfect, or we feel like we have to be skinny. And I'm like, no, you feel that way. Don't tell me how I feel. I don't feel that way. I don't know why it bugs me. So if I have ever done that before, I'm really sorry. But they do that a little bit in this book. We feel as though, and I'm like, I don't feel that way. You feel that way, Anyway, this side tangent. So one of the chapters in this book is titled, "What if I don't fit in this life? The myth of the perfect military spouse," which ugh, even just reading that made my butthole clench. I'm not a fan. I don't know why. Why am I like this? I'm not real sure. I think because I don't like to be put into a box. That's a whole, I'll need to talk to my therapist about that one. But I'll just be honest about something. Rewind a little bit. When we were at JBLM, I didn't attend any functions besides the Ranger Ball. And that was only because my husband had to go. I was kind of on the outside of things. And that was mostly because we weren't married yet. I wasn't invited to anything since I wasn't a wife. And even after, I mean, I was invited to a few things, but at that point, if I'm just being completely honest, like I was a little bitter. Like, oh, now you want to get to know me because now that my last name is Purdy, which by the way, it's not officially Purdy yet, like legally, because I'm having an identity crisis with it. Yes, I am slowly adjusting. I just started using, like within the last couple months, Ashley Kelly Purdy, just to test it out. And it feels okay. But I needed time. I actually posted about it on my Instagram, like shortly after we got married, because I was having this moment of like, oh, why do I have to change my name? I felt very kind of just that. I was having an identity crisis. I'm like, but I'm Ashley Kelly. Like, oh, now I just have to conform to this because that's what society's telling me to do. And I got some responses saying that I was a mad bra burning feminist. And it's not like that. Like, I'm allowed to have a moment to adjust. I have a lot of friends that say like, oh, I couldn't wait to take my husband's last name. Like I couldn't have got rid of my last name fast enough. And that's all fine and dandy, but like I didn't feel like that. And it's nothing against my husband. It's just I was feeling the way I was feeling, there was one thing that I liked. My friend Kim said to me, she said she looks at it as joining the same team and unifying, which I do like that. But it's like, then he should take my last name. And you know what he said? He goes, but then I'd have to change all my uniforms and my license and my passport. I'm like, yeah, what the heck do you think I have to do? Not, I don't have uniforms, but like women in the military, you guys have to do that. Whatever. It's not a huge deal. Maybe I am a mad bra burning feminist. No, I'm not. But I have had to take some time to adjust. And I think that's okay. So, you guys, rewind. I was bitter. I was a little bitter because they were not interested in really getting to know me whatsoever, even though we were engaged for a couple years. I had lived there for 4 years at this point. It was kind of like weird to me. And that's a lot of why I named this podcast what I named it, because even if you are a fiance, even if you're a girlfriend, even if you're just hooking up with some military dudes on the side, whatever you're doing, like it still affects you and it affects your life. And that's a lot of why I created this, because I truly, like, I didn't want someone to feel the way I felt. And I want to talk about all of it. So, because of that experience, I have made an effort to look at moving to this new base as a fresh start and doing things like little things to get involved, easing my way in, because that's just how I roll. I got to dip my toe in. I'm not about to volunteer for anything and everything under the sun. That gives, like, the idea of that gives me extreme anxiety. I know that if I agreed to everything, I would end up resenting it and hate my life. And we just don't need that. So listen, I feel like I don't fit this lifestyle all the time. I think that's normal. I think that's okay. Obviously, that's why these ladies wrote a chapter on it. But like, I've been thinking about this a lot. And even like the other night, was going on a walk with B, and I was telling him this, and he looked at me and he said, Why fit in when you were born to stand out? I'm like, oh, okay, you've been looking at Pinterest a little too much. But I did really like one paragraph from this book that I wanted to touch on, and it said, the strength of the military community comes from the wide variety and diversity of its members. It's important to pay attention to your interests and passions, whatever they are, and find ways to fit them into this life. It's important to live from the place of your own authenticity and uniqueness rather than trying to fit yourself into some mold that isn't you. And I mean, I can agree with that. There was a million reasons to feel like you wouldn't fit in. Like right now, I feel like I don't fit in because we don't have kids yet. And I'm realizing my story is so different than most. A lot of ladies that I meet that are military spouses have 2 kids, and they've been married and a part of the military lifestyle for like 10 years. A lot of them got married at 19, 20, 21. And I'm like, I just don't relate to that. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I can't help but feel a little like, ooh, yeah, like we don't have a ton of things in common. But I feel like you don't need to do things a certain way because that's what everyone else is doing. That's the worst feeling. Do things because you know in your gut it's the right thing for you. And that might ruffle some feathers and that might make you feel like you don't fit in. Exactly what I'm doing right now. But you know what I'm going to say to all of that? Oh, well. You just have to trust you'll find your people and your tribe. You have to stay true to yourself and be a kind person and show up for what you believe in. There's no one way to be a freaking military spouse or any spouse for that matter. You have to do what feels right for you and for your family. I like that this book touches on the perfect military spouse because it's kind of hilarious. Like in the first chapter said, ask any spouse who's been married to the military what preconceived notions they had about the typical military spouse or possibly the good military spouse, and you'll often hear the mythical creature described as a wife who has 2 children and doesn't work outside the home, or if she does, she cheerfully puts her spouse's career first. She keeps a perfect house with seasonal decorations on the door, moves and settles into new quarters with curtains up in 3 weeks flat, easily keeps things running at home during deployments, and makes all the food from scratch for unit gatherings. Ugh, like reading that literally just gave me a rash. Okay, listen, if that's who you want to be and that's your idea, like you would thrive in that mindset, then awesome. Nothing is wrong with that. If that truly makes you happy. If not, then freaking don't. No one is saying you have to be a certain way to fit in. So let's all just calm down a little bit and be accepting of all lifestyle choices. Okay? All right, guys, this is going to be a short one today, but thank you so much for listening. Share this with a friend. Help assist it out. Join the book club. Let me know what you love about this podcast in the reviews. Thank you so much for leaving 5 stars. Love you guys so much. Have the best week. Thank you for listening to Purdy Girl Podcast. If you have a second, please rate and review and share this podcast with somebody you think would love it. See you next week.